Hey everybody, Carolina Gun Guy here. This is kind of a part 2 video for this gun. I did an unboxing video a few months back where I went over the specs and I gave my initial impressions of this gun out of the box. I'm not going to go over the same things that I went over in that video, but I will put a link in the description if you want to take a look at it. As a quick recap, this gun comes with 3 magazines and you get a threaded barrel with it as well. It took me a while to get out and shoot this guy, but I finally got out yesterday and I put about 300 to 350 rounds through it, which with today's ammo prices means I'm practically a millionaire. But I put 5 different types and brands of ammunition through it so I could see how it handled them all, and I'm now able to give my overall review of this gun. And I can honestly say that I'm not a fan. What do you call someone who's more than a fan? A super fan? Yeah, we'll go with that. I said in my unboxing video, I love cheap guns that run well, and this one hits that mark perfectly. I did have a couple issues, and I'll go over them later, but you'll see that they were minor, and I'm chalking them up to the break-in period for this new gun. I never clean my guns before shooting them for the first time. I like to see how they run straight from the factory. You can agree or disagree, but that's how I do it. I love the 16 round capacity that you get with these magazines. So many 22LR handguns are only 10 rounds for some reason, and yes, I'm looking at you, Ruger SR22 and Glock 44. Kel-Tec knew that they were going to appeal to someone who likes a higher capacity with this gun. And if you're watching YouTube, this video does not violate any of your policies and does not show how to manufacture or modify a firearm. Before I go on, please hit that thumbs up and consider subscribing if you find anything useful in this video. Thanks, guys. Just to show you what I put through it, I had about 10 rounds left in this box of CCI Mini Mag hollow points, and I went through those without any issues. I had a 50 round box of this CCI stuff from 2016. It's the standard velocity 40 grain stuff, no issues with this either. I also shot this box of Arms Core. It's 50 rounds, 36 grain high velocity, and if you know Arms Core, this stuff shoots kind of dirty and puts out a fireball the size of a basketball, but I had no issues cycling that either. The other 2 rounds that I used were both Federal. The bulk stuff from Walmart, 36 grain, high velocity, and also the Federal Auto Match. This was actually the only one that I ran into any issues with, not with the ammo specifically, but I had 2 problems with the gun, which I'll go over later, and I was using this ammo both times. So pros first, then I'll go over some cons later in the video. Going back to my unboxing video, I pointed out this paddle release for the magazine. It's on both sides, ambidextrous, and I wondered if I would have any annoyances with this since I'm not familiar with a paddle release. I'm used to a push-button magazine release. But it turned out that this was a non-issue. I was maybe 2 magazines in before I forgot that I was even using a paddle release. It just came pretty natural, like I've been using one my whole life instead of a button release. So this isn't really a pro or a con for the gun. It just turned out to be a giant nothing burger. It's there, and you just deal with it. I love the trigger in this gun. It has a very tactile reset, so you know exactly when it's ready to fire again. You hear it and you feel it. So there's no confusion about when you're ready to actually fire. It has a very light trigger pull. It's about 2 to 3 pounds. And even though there are upgrade options out there, it's not something that I feel like I need to change. Of course, you may be different, so check out the flat trigger offered by M Carbo if you want to change it up just a little bit. I mentioned in my unboxing video that I would probably need to adjust the front sight as it seemed just a little bit off, but I never actually did adjust it, and the accuracy was just fine. Shooting offhand from 5 to 10 yards out at a relatively quick pace, I had no problem keeping small enough groups that I was able to be happy with through a full magazine. Remember, the P17 has a fixed barrel, so that likely adds to the accuracy of this gun. The fiber optic front sight allows for very quick and easy acquisition of your target. This is a very light gun. With a fully loaded magazine, it comes in under 15 ounces. I'm not positive, but I'll go out on a limb and say that I think this is the lightest 22LR pistol that you can get with this kind of magazine capacity. If you're looking for a fun gun to put a lot of rounds through or something to train a young shooter, this is definitely a viable option. Now on to some of the cons. I mentioned before that I did have a couple of issues while shooting. I did have two stovepipes. Again, both of them came with the Federal Auto Match ammunition. The first one came at about 80 rounds and the second one came at about 250 rounds in. I highly doubt that the ammo was the actual cause of the issue, and like I said earlier, I'm chalking this up to a break-in period of the gun. The only other issue that I had was that the slide failed to lock back on one occasion after I finished the magazine. And this could have been my fault, I don't know, but it wasn't that big a deal for me. It just caused me to take a second look to confirm that the magazine was empty, and I moved on from there. The only other con that I can point out specifically related to the gun is loading the magazines. A lot of other 22LR magazines have a little spring assist or button on the side that you can use to help you when you're loading the magazine. You can pull it down to make it easier to get the rounds in. The Kel-Tec P17 does not. So for the most part, it's pretty easy to get these in, but when you get to that 16th round, it gets kind of tough. I highly recommend, unless you're dead set on getting 16 rounds in, just stick with 15. That 16th is a bit of a pain, and it's honestly not worth the effort for me. I'm content just to live with a 15-round magazine. Now the big question is, where can you buy these? And that is the tricky part. These are extremely hard to find right now. I actively looked for months before I found a good enough deal on this one when I bought it in November 2020. My suggestion is to use gun.deals to search for live inventory on various sites, and maybe just kind of look around some other websites that you are familiar with that you know have them in stock occasionally. I got mine from Kentucky Gun Company, which is a great website to buy guns from since they always have free shipping on firearm sales. If you're interested in getting a Kel-Tec P17, and I do recommend this gun to anyone who wants a fun, cheap 22LR option, you're going to have to be patient and you're going to have to be willing to search for it. Thanks for watching, guys. Please remember to hit that thumbs up or subscribe if you found anything useful. I'll see you next time. Take care, and God bless.